Hey, good morning. It's Tyler here at Blueville Garden Store, and today I'm going to do a video on how to make a terrarium. So a terrarium is like a little miniature landscape that you do in a glass container. It can be any type, any size, or any type of container you want. So I'm going to do this little glass, almost looking fishbowl, but you can do it in like a little candy dish, a jar. Some people do bigger ones in like a big fish tank or an aquarium, and put some like lizards or turtles in it. So it can be really anything you want, but this is what I'm going to do today. So your first step is going to be putting in a small layer of pebbles, and we use our 3/8 chips, so just something small. And this is just to help with drainage. So it doesn't have to be a lot. Just a few handfuls to make kind of a base layer. Kind of see there, maybe an inch at most. So that's just going to help with drainage and give you a place to let the water collect when you water it, because there's not going to be any good drainage in there. And the next step is going to be adding some charcoal. So you're going to do a layer for that. Now, if you do an enclosed terrarium, this is going to really help filter the air and anything in there. Otherwise, it's just another level of drainage, and it'll kind of help purify or clean whatever water does collect at the bottom, so it doesn't become nasty and stagnant. And so you're probably going to put about the same amount in there as pebbles. Maybe not quite that much. So just a little layer of that. And then you're going to add some moss, some peat moss. Sphagnum peat moss. And this comes usually in a compressed bale. We have a few different kinds of it. And really, you're supposed to soak it before you put it in there, but I forgot to bring out water. So we're just going to add a layer in there, and then we'll water it in good. Once it comes in, adding water to it just helps make it a little more viable and workable, but I've already had this bag open, so it's not too bad. And that's going to just help retain moisture in there. So we'll probably add about that much or so. You don't want to get too carried away if you don't have a real big container, because then by the time you fill it up, you're not going to have any room for plants. And then we're just going to add potting soil. You just want enough to be able to put your plants in there and plant around them. Like I said, don't get it too full or you won't have any room to plant your stuff. That peat moss will kind of help add a layer of stuff you can plant into also. So now you got all your layers in there, and you're going to want to pick out your plants that you use. So our houseplant supplier has what they specifically call terrarium plants, and it's just an assortment of things. So like here's a fern. This one's called nerve plant, peperomia, arrowhead plant. Basically anything that can take a lot of humidity, because most terrariums are enclosed, so they get a really humid environment. If you're not going to enclose it, you could use succulents or some different things. It's just depending on what kind you're making and what you want in there. The biggest thing to think of though is like choose things with different colors and textures and heights, just so it's not all monotone and the same. So to start, you'll just pop out your little plant, knock off any loose soil, and then add little holes in your container and pop them in. If you're really talented and artistic, you can kind of angle the soil or whatever in your terrarium, make it kind of sloped to make different levels and layers, but I'm not quite that talented. So. And you don't want to overcrowd it, so don't like pack it too full of plants. I'm doing 5 in this one. I think that's going to work out pretty good. So just kind of layer them in there. See if I can angle this without dumping it out on different spots. Leave some extra room, because then at this point, once you get your plants in there, you can go through and add some different decorative stuff. I brought out this little bag of white pebbles. So you can layer those around there just to add some color and decoration. If you have any fairy garden supplies or just little miniature figurines or whatever, you can add those in there too. Just make it you, add what you want, don't add what you don't want, and just get creative with it. Enclosed ones, they should create their own environment, so you shouldn't really have to do anything as far as watering it. This one, if you're doing one with like actual terrarium plants, mist it every once in a while to add some humidity and just add a little bit of water here and there. You don't want it to be a soggy mess, but you don't want it to get bone dry. So at the store we have a whole bunch of terrarium kits that will have everything you need, or we have a whole selection of different glass containers that you can use, and we have all the supplies you need to add to create your terrarium. So come on in, see what we got, and we can make one for you, or we can help you design your own. So come on in and see us, Blueville Nursery.